Hello, and welcome to Notary Life with Kimmi. How are you all? I hope you are doing well. Well, today is a follow-up to a video I did a while back, which was my ink fingerprinting video. It was amazing, the number of people that added ink fingerprinting to their business. And you're probably here because you want to add ink fingerprinting to your business. So I'm going to highly recommend you go back and watch the original video because I take you step by step into how to do ink fingerprinting. I even have a mock demonstration with my mom, who unfortunately I lost since the taping of that video. But it was a hit, and she was a hit in the video. I love you, mommy. So anyway, let's get into this. The ink fingerprinting follow-up. So I get questions about that video, so I'm going to answer them today. The number one question I get is, why do I give the client 2 cards? In the video I mentioned I give the client 2 cards. Most of my clients request 2. That's been the typical since I started doing ink fingerprinting. Since that was always my original request, people would say I need 2. I often offer 2, even though they never really ask me for 2. I'll ask them sometimes. I'm saying, well, how many do you think you need? And they'll say, I'm not sure. So I usually just end up doing 2 because, again, that was just the custom. I purchased the cards from Amazon. You can visit NotaryEducatorsLLC.com, which is my training company. I have a Notary Supply List over at the website, and you can see the cards and the ink that I use. I use the individual ink pads because, again, I started doing ink fingerprinting during COVID. Actually, I think it was before COVID, but I never would let anyone use the same ink pad. I just think that's disgusting. So they don't cost that much. So you really want to invest in your business and buy the individual ink pads. Because if you gave me an ink pad that somebody else can use, they've been coughing and sneezing, and now you want me to roll my finger in that ink pad, I think I'm going to be kind of upset, wouldn't you? So invest in your business and get the ink pads, okay? The next question that I get often is, what do I do with the card once I'm finished rolling them? And actually, I let the client roll themselves. That's all in my training course. So I do have an ink fingerprinting training course. It's called Ink Fingerprinting Like a Pro. But that's the other question I get. What do I do with the cards once we're finished? I give the card back to the client. I have no need to keep their card. That's their card. What am I going to do with this? They either mail it to whomever is requesting it, or they take it to whoever they need to. That's not my business. I'm not a courier when it comes to the ink fingerprinting. Unless they ask me to. Now, if they ask me to drive it somewhere, I'll take it for them for a fee. But normally the card goes back to the client. It's not your responsibility to do anything else with it. Once you have completed the rolling of the fingerprint card and it's been completed, there's nothing else for you to do with it as a notary. Another question I get all the time is, well, how much do you charge? I charge based on how far I have to travel to the client. I do have a base rate, but it's really dependent on where you're located. Because if you're in New York, you can ask probably 2 or 3 times what I could charge here in Georgia, in a suburb of Georgia at that. I'm not even in Atlanta. So Atlanta people can charge way more than I can out here. I do kind of discuss it a little bit more privately in my training class because that's your personal information to do with. But I'm being very transparent even with you here. Again, you have to make that decision as a business. How far do you have to travel to your client? How many cards do they need? I do charge per card after 2. Now, if you really want to increase your business, you could charge per card after the first one, really. If they need more than 1, you don't have to give them 2, but that's just what I do in my business. So that's another common question that I receive. How much do I charge? So again, to clarify that, I want to make sure it's clear and simple. You charge based on where you're located, what the market will bear, okay? If you charge $100 and your neighbor around the corner, your notary neighbor is charging $50, that's not going to fly. They're going to use you that one time, but they never going to use you again. The next question that I get all the time is, who needs to be fingerprinted? Well, that tends to be traveling nurses, often are most of my clients. Real estate professionals also need to be fingerprinted. It could be anybody. Doctors have requested I fingerprint them. People traveling out the country may need to be fingerprinted for any number of reasons. So these are the most common questions that I receive regarding ink fingerprinting. So I thought I would do a follow-up. So just to be clear, go back and watch the original video I did. I'm going to try to link it in the description box for you. In the Ink Fingerprinting Like a Pro course, I show you actually how to roll the print so you don't have any rejections. I teach you how to price your services, and we go over how to fill out the card completely and correctly. Also, don't forget at notaryeducatorsllc.com, there is a supply link. If you just need to buy supplies, you can check out what I recommend. That's going to be the individual ink pads, the FD258 card, and don't just have one or two. You want to order like at least 25. You may not get called to do ink fingerprinting every single day, but when that phone rings and you don't have the supplies that you need, it's not going to be good. So always be prepared. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready, okay? So order enough ink thingies, order enough for those, and also order enough cards. And always have black ink pens because that's a requirement for completing that card. So again, check out the course if you need to. Other than that, I got the free video and you got my 2 videos to watch, okay? Until next time, this is Notary Life with Kimmi. Bye!